Hello. Is it just me or is this music going very slow? It's going very slow, right?
Enthusiasm is crap.
No, I didn't even do that. But hi, welcome. We are the Trio of Positivity podcast. We're three Chicago Bear fans on a mission to look for positivity within Bears football and maybe to your day as well. I am here with the boys. First, we got Miller. He's the stats guy, the loudest voice in the room, the reigning fantasy football king, and a lifelong Cubs fan with enough disappointed dad energy to power the whole podcast. We also have Burton. He's going to do his best to keep me, Chris, in line with said Miller, but he always has technical issues, and sadly, he represents the White Sox, which surprisingly are doing good this year, so good for him. He also has lukewarm tastes and sucks at fantasy football. And then you got me. I am Chris. I have the radio voice, the jokes, the hot takes, and the hot face. And yeah, I'm a Cubs fan too. Welcome. Boys, how was your week?
Oh, God. You started pretty shitty, but you finished pretty well. As far as the
normally what happens every day in my life, brother. It's all about how you finish and how quick you do it.
No, I'm so glad to see you guys. Already has been a tough, long week, so this is already the highlight of my week.
Yeah,
already a minute.
It's a minute in.
That's what I'm saying. That's how tough the week was.
Let's make sure your wife does not hear this podcast. But
I haven't seen it all week.
Boys, we got some stuff to talk about today. We're going to talk about preseason game 2. We're also going to talk about some injury news that have happened, get riled up with some fantasy, and we're actually going to review the Bears' final preseason game against the Titans. So let's get started. We are going to talk about the Bears' loss against the Bengals. Final score was 27-9. However, there is some more information that we want to talk about this, of course, leading into what the first team actually did. So let's go ahead and send it over to Miller. Miller, how would you rate first team performance? Looks like they only had one drive.
The offense did have one drive. And most notably, Caleb Williams. He finished 2 for 5. And for those counting at home, that is a 40% completion percentage.
Burton, just correct me. In college grading, what's a 40%?
Oh, God, we're doing this again. It's a D? F?
Good Lord.
I go to school here.
I see Burton got a curve most of his career, but all right. Continue, Miller.
It would be an F. But you know what positive things came out of this? He didn't get a sack like Chris's Lord and Savior, Justin Fields. Yeah, Justin Fields, who had a horrible sack on Sunday or whenever they played. But Caleb Williams in the offense, they did lead about a 60-yard drive, ended in a field goal. So it is what it is. There was a play called back from a Braxton Jones holding penalty. A horrible game for Braxton. Left tackle overall, pretty bad this game. Yes, Burton.
Without the penalty, do you think they would have scored that drive?
A touchdown?
Yeah.
I mean, they were moving pretty well, running the ball as well as passing the ball, so probably.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the only question I could have mustered from like the one drive we saw. Like, they were moving the ball.
There's a pretty big moment in the game, not a big moment in the game, but a highlighted moment that was talked about all week in regards to this. There was a play with the first team with, I believe it was Colston Loveland. He was running a slant route, and Caleb made the throw, and the throw was high, was not caught by Loveland, and apparently Ben Johnson did not like that throw. He felt it should have gone a safer route, so there was a lot of yapping by all the talking heads everywhere about the play, and it was quite controversial. So good thing is it's preseason. As many people have said, when you have the talent like Caleb, wait. We should just start it. Just start the Miller's glazing.
No, I decided as a temporary host or primary host, because we're all hosts, we're playing that only in week 1. You only get that during the regular season.
I just played it. If you have the arm talent,
it's pre-glazing.
Like Caleb Williams does,
It's
you can make whatever damn throw you want. because 3 out of 10 times you might actually hit it. Back to you, Boomy.
Listen, I think this goes back to what we were talking about last week, where did we want to see Caleb play? Did we not? I would have been fine if he didn't play. Did this help or hurt him?
Going back a step here, do you feel that the first offense playing means they didn't do enough in the joint practice?
Yeah,
See,
it came out, right? Like the defense, a couple of people played into the second drive, and the reason given was those two players in particular didn't get enough like playing time in the scrimmage. Was the reasons given. So I think it was planned. I think they were gonna have one drive, whether it was a touchdown, field goal, 3 and out. I think that was what would have been given. I don't think that would have changed by that much. But yeah, like some players that they needed to see more played into the second, especially on the defense, played a couple more series.
Boobin, can you turn your microphone so the light is in front of you, because it sounds like you're in the bathroom? Say something.
Check.
That's a
For
lot
all
better.
of you listening at home, he was in the bathroom.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I had to go.
I think so. This kind of goes back to what we were saying before, and another reason why I think the preseason is just going to end up phasing out. I think the joint practices are going to have so much more of relevance that's just going to be a norm. I wouldn't even be surprised if there's like 2 different teams that will go in 1 week to try to get as many different bodies as possible and just seeing that stuff. I personally would have been comfortable not seeing the first team play, mostly because there's just a lot of injuries, and I know we're going to talk about that a little bit later. Obviously, we can't control injuries, but I think that's just another safe way of approaching preseason at this point. But yeah, I mean,
I do think there's something to be said for going through your routine. I mean, you hear it from so many different athletes across the sports. It's just like they all have their own routine, and having the ability for these guys to go through that routine before the game actually matters. I think there is something to be said for it.
Yeah, but the difference is like there wasn't even a lot of people at the stadium, so like you're not getting the full.
It doesn't impact the routine.
Yes, it does. If you're an away
How
team
does that
and the noise,
impact the routine?
if you're an away team and the noise of a stadium doesn't affect you, or it does affect you, you want to practice that too.
That has nothing to do with the routine.
It does. What do you mean?
The routine is steps that a person makes to prepare for the game.
I mean,
It's
those
putting
are
on the
external
socks a certain way.
factors. Like
It
you
doesn't
probably
have
can't
it-
control that either way. But I think
It
what
doesn't matter.
Miller's saying like
Putting on the helmet, getting the pregame going,
pregame, yep, like warm up,
preparing
stuff like
for
that.
the game. It doesn't matter how loud the fucking fans are when you're preparing.
I
It
did have a
matters when
question
you're
for you
actually
guys.
playing.
Do all teams do these scrimmages, or like is Ben Johnson like a big scrimmage guy?
All teams
A
do.
lot of teams do it. I'm not surprised.
Looks like we're doing one with the Titans again this week. So I was just like, do they like do scrimmages with their? I know they do like, I don't know what it's called, training camps. They go and visit some camps sometimes, but every preseason game there's a scrimmage before. It seems like
Well, the scrimmage is twofold.
It's just okay. It's just called a joint practice.
joint
yeah.
practice. Yeah,
But it's twofold because it also gives the refs opportunities to get some of the new rules out there too, and seeing how they can experience it. So I think that's why a lot of the joint practices are happening, because you actually get more action than teams playing against each other, because they're going to want to not injure each other. Where I think
what we've kind of seen over these first 2 years under Ben Johnson, I think he's a little more stout and gung-ho in these joint practices than the other team likes, because wasn't it last year that he had some complaints about the Bears being too physical in these?
Yeah.
So I think that might, I think there's something to be said for that.
Yeah.
But Yeah, I do think that Chris is right with the joint practices. I think they have become more important overall. I think we've seen that trend recently. But I like that Caleb actually got out there and slung the ball, listening to the opponent's noise.
Well, I don't know if there's anything else that we may have missed. I guess if you guys want to bring up Luther Burton here, or do we want to save that for something a little bit later? Because I know we are going to talk about him too. But anything you guys want to point out about the game itself?
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the wide receivers. Obviously, we know Burton, Rome, those are the two big ones, but it really seems like Walker might have taken or solidified his role on this team. He had a nice 35-yard pass completion, just a great catch by him on the sideline. Not from Caleb, obviously, but it was a nice throw and catch there for the Bears. So it'll be interesting to see if Jahad Walker really does solidify himself and become an impact player on this team moving forward with the wide receivers, because we sure as hell got a lot of them, and we all know how our buddy Ben feels about our overpaid wide receiver.
Shout out Ben. Hope you feel better soon. Go ahead, Boopin.
I'm surprised Miller didn't bring his favorite thing, muffed punt.
Muffed punt?
Yeah. The wide receiver we picked up from CFL, who was doing really well, I think. I think there was a muffed punt at some point. That was like, I don't know. I thought he was going to make the team. He was like, but like now it's probably looking a little iffy.
All right. That's a good convo for this game. But yeah, we kind of touched on it a little bit. We're going to talk about injuries. We're going to talk about Luther Burton first. So, Boopin, what do we know about Luther Burton and injuries? And I believe he actually played today, correct?
He's practicing, supposedly. So the injury, like it. First off, take it with a grain of salt, right? Everyone will be ready for week 1, supposedly. So you don't know the extent of the injury.
That's not true.
Like every injury, like that they have talked about, like Love and Genty and whoever, like somehow week 1, regardless they are playing Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, they are ready to go for the day. At least the news would be like, oh, they'll be ready for week 1. So like supposedly Luther, who went down pretty early in the preseason, will be ready for week 1. So not much worry. The bigger worry is probably, even though first team hasn't played much in the preseason, just developing this chemistry with Caleb and taking that next step would have been nice. But Luther, not much to worry, should be ready for week 1, from what it sounds.
One of the trios is having a little bit of difficulty, so we're going to try to get that resolved. So let's move on to Darnell Wright. He had left practice with an apparent arm issue. Why do you think this is worth monitoring?
Jeez.
Why do I think it's worth monitoring? He's like our most important offensive lineman. So like he did, he went out of practice a few days ago with that arm issue. It's a big story, obviously with the injury bugs hitting a lot of teams. Thankfully, it seems like he's going to be okay. He was on the field today practicing. So that is a step in the right direction. Doesn't appear to be long-term, but him being a solid part alongside Jonah Jackson on the right side is really key to this offensive line being successful.
All right. 2 more names that we want to talk about. What are we hearing about Austin Booker?
What are we hearing about Austin Booker? That's the question, isn't it?
That is very much the question. And that also with the next person we're going to talk about too. I think that one's going to be even a bit more touchy, but we haven't really heard anything, have we?
No, we have not. Austin Booker's been on the sidelines the last few days and in the game itself. So he didn't participate in that. And there hasn't been much come out about it. So I'm sure he's dealing with some sort of injury. I can only imagine what it is. Hopefully it's not severe, and hopefully, like Boopin says, he would be ready for week 1 because God only knows we need help on the defensive line, specifically the end positions.
I know they don't have to give the full injury report, but this shit's getting annoying. Especially Gordon, who we'll probably talk about in a minute, right? Uncertain status, like this guy too. We really don't know if he's hurt, if he's going through something. It's just and at least I know he's not been a standout, but he was getting some buzz in camp that he might take the next step too. So this is kind of, I'm annoyed by this, but I think next week should be good, right? There's a huge roster cut coming. Each team is cutting 30 some players, so that should clear out some of the depth questions that we might have.
Remind me to ask the question after this one, but the last person that we want to talk about is going to be Kyler Gordon. Just going off of what I see in our notes here, what is actually going on with Kyler Gordon? Conspiracy hats can be put on. There's a lot of discussion with that too. And of course, for conspiracies, we go to our man Miller. What are you hearing?
Yeah, what's Twitter saying?
Ooh, like that. You like that? Huh?
Twitter's quiet. That's what's scary. No one really knows. He's been at some practices, like he was at the joint practice with Cincinnati. But he wasn't dressed, he wasn't practicing. So, I mean, a lot of times when you have a situation like this, I think it's consensus that it's probably an injury of some sort, but sometimes you can think it could be contractual. I don't know. I mean, could trades possibly be in play? I don't think so. If we're really talking conspiracies, I don't think any of that. It's just so weird because it's just it's really starting to give Nate Davis vibes, if you remember that.
I was about to say that.
Ben Johnson seems like he wants nothing to do with this guy, and it just seems like this relationship just exploded. And coming off of him making the Pro Bowl, what was that, 2 years ago at this point, right? Because he had injury ridden last year. It's just this is not looking too.
Yeah. I don't know. It could be again, silver lining here, but I think Muhammad stepping up in a major way like he has, I think has helped the Bears not deal with the situation. I did see some rumors that he's missing first 4 weeks of the season with some nagging injury. That's the first time I've actually seen anything that's somewhat clarifying in his situation. It's always oh, he's on his timeline, whatever, some vague answer. But this is the first time I've seen. And I think, there's someone behind him to step up. So maybe that's helping a little bit to give clarity on the situation too.
Speaking of giving clarity, I want to bring something up, and thankfully I did not need to be reminded. I think we talked a little bit last year, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm going off the top of the dome here. We had concerns about how Bears were handling injuries last season, correct?
They had a decent non-injured year, so I don't know. Was it in relation to a particular player or situation?
I think there was a situation that didn't we bring back somebody a little early?
I'm
Brisker?
leaning toward.
Or was that might have been 2 years ago because Brisker played the whole season last year.
I was going to say, I might be just confusing the 2 years because there was one time where I remember arguing, what are we doing? Why are we sending people out? And then they just played a little bit and then they never went back in. And there was concern about how are we treating the players. I'll look into it.
It was last year or
I don't remember now. I
Eberflus.
could have sworn it was last year, but even like I said in the last episode, I think I have 2 years ago more planted than I do last year. Almost like last year was a fever dream.
Because we didn't give you anything to hate.
No, there was plenty to hate. It's just I was nitpicky with it. But I mean, I was going to talk more into that about seeing how maybe this could just be a safe preseason and we're just handling it a little bit different. I don't know. Now, I genuinely don't know. So I was just going to put my conspiracy hat on.
this is a very general statement, but like Bears were one of the healthiest teams last year. Just like, maybe the bigger names, whatever it was, like that's one of the reasons people are picking the Bears
You
not to
say
have.
that, and I don't believe it. I don't know why.
I don't know
I-
that that's true.
I can't think of a single. I guess like Rome missed a bunch of the time. That's the
Jalen
only.
missed a bunch of the time. Kyler missed a bunch of the time.
I guess maybe Jalen's who you're thinking then, but like for the most part, the O line was healthy. Caleb was healthy. Like I'm trying to like figure out.
I mean, that'll be
could-
probably something that I want to look into for the next discussion, but I'm leaning more towards with what Miller's saying. I think that might have been 2 years ago because I recall like every week was like someone's playing and then all of a sudden they weren't and it just kept coming in.
And wasn't there one situation that happened like pregame too?
Was it Braxton?
Braxton was out last year.
Yeah,
No, it was like something. It might have been Jalen last year, if I'm being honest. But whatever. It's water under the bridge.
All right. With injuries though comes some fantasy news, which we're gonna go right into. We're gonna ask our fantasy football guru, what are we hearing about certain players? Miller, what are we hearing about Jamar Chase?
And
Oof.
did you did you drop whatever you were drinking or eating at that time when you saw the footage?
I may or may not have. Ooh, Jamar had a scary video come out where his knee kind of buckled a little bit. It didn't look very good. He went down on all fours, but luckily it looks like they're just saying it's a mild hyperextension and he should be fine for week 1. I wouldn't expect him to see the practice field anymore other than maybe warming up, but I'm sure he's not going to be doing much, but he's too valuable of a individual for them to risk him not being fully healthy. That's for sure.
Boopin, what are we hearing about Josh Jacobs?
Yeah, that's a very intriguing situation. Usually, NFL goes after the legal situation has been figured out for the suspensions, and that's like there's nothing. As far as I know, there hasn't been any movement in the legal department. So a lot of people think Josh Jacobs is fine to play this season. There shouldn't be much going on, but NFL, I think, a couple of weeks ago, not a blanket statement, but it was like, oh, Josh Jacobs and was it Buka? There were a couple of situations like named by name saying we're still reviewing or things may come down the pipeline. And I think he came from Shefty or somebody too. It was like one of those people. So that's the one that's like throwing a little bit of weird vibes in this. But as majority of the people think, at least the legal stuff should be clear for Josh Jacobs. Since we're talking fantasy, he actually picked up an injury. I think that might be slightly concerning more than the off the field issues, as long as this season's concerned.
Switching it up, Miller, what are you hearing about Zay Flowers?
Another injury. I think it's his ankle. Seems like it's a mild ankle sprain. It started this fantasy off-season, well, I guess not off-season. Training camp started with a bunch of groin injuries. They slowly appear to be moving now towards the ankle injuries. Maybe they started doing their butterfly stretches and now they need to do some other stretches for their ankles or something. But we had a lot of wide receivers that had some ankle injuries, and Zay Flowers is definitely a cog in the wheel for this Baltimore Ravens offense. So we'll see if he can. He's still, I'm hearing that it should be okay. He should be available for week 1. But
he should be available week 1.
Who knows?
All right. With that, we're going to go ahead and switch on over to something that, from a fantasy perspective, is going to be a little bit of fun on our end. We want to find out who the Trio of Positivity think is the favorite top player or who is the highest risk top player of certain positions. We're going to go ahead and start this off. Each one will give one of the answers for each category, and then we'll discuss it. So we're going to start with the QBs. We got Allen, Jackson, Daniels, Burrow, Hurts, May, Dart, Lawrence, Williams, and Prescott. Of these names, Boopin, who is your favorite and who is your highest risk?
Yeah, it's listed in order. Obviously, Allen up top is very juicy, but I like the discount you get on Dak towards the end. If you can like pick him up with the two wide receiver with that offense, that's like, should be very high potential offense. He's definitely someone if you have on your team, especially if you can stack it with someone else on the team. Big upside right there.
Miller, what do you think?
For some reason, I keep talking about this team and their offensive capabilities. But to me, I really want to see Trevor Lawrence take that next step. I mean, he's got the targets, he's got the weapons,
He's got the hair.
he's got the beauty.
Fabulous hair.
Maybe one day he can be a good quarterback as well. Maybe he can string all that together.
Yeah, like Caleb.
Like Caleb. But I would say, like, I think Trevor Lawrence might have a good season this year. I know towards the back half of last year, he was producing numbers that were off the charts. I think he was like top 3 in fantasy quarterbacks for the last half of the season. So it'll be interesting to see if he can roll that over to this year.
Did you mention your highest risk?
What about yourself?
Yeah, what about you, Chris?
Who was your highest risk? I'm sorry.
We haven't gotten there.
We didn't go that far.
We're all going
waiting
one by
on
one?
your favorite.
I think our highest risk. I think at least Miller and I is probably the same guy. I think.
Okay. I
Should
think
we
my
say
favorite.
it at 3? Oh,
No, hold on.
Favorite.
Yeah, Jesus, you asked me for my opinion. You're already trying to skip me. Honestly, my favorite of the list, it has to be Lamar Jackson. I don't know. There's just something about him.
So bounce back coming.
Yeah, I feel really good about it. And there's a new coach, and so you never know with new coaches like how a player is going to perform. But I think with him, this might be a nice little bounce back for him.
He got out OC, I think.
Yeah, he did. Declan Doyle, right?
Yeah, he's there. Miller.
It'll be interesting what happens with that
dynamic.
Yeah, is he going to be forced to throw the ball more?
Yeah. Okay, Miller. Here's a experiment. Okay, in 3, 2, 1. Let's say our riskiest picks and see if we match. Okay.
Okay.
Chris, you the count us down.
3, 2, 1.
Jackson Dart.
I love it, buddy. Same page.
My highest risk,
have,
and then we'll hear what you guys say. But my highest risk right now has to be Burrow from a fantasy perspective. But why do you guys have Dart?
Because he has Matt Nagy. Obviously.
Also, like the joke on Twitter, Miller knows, is he rented the blue tent at his house on Zillow. Is the joke going around? Because he was there in the preseason game, dude. Like he fucking lives there.
I mean, he's such an electric quarterback, but he is just reckless with his body.
Yeah. Him and Scatterboo, man.
Neighbors is coming off of his, I believe, an ACL tear, so you don't know how fast he's going to get up to speed. Will he be able to carry his team like he did last year? The injury issues is obviously a big concern. And then, like we discussed, Matt Nagy and his inability to run a competent offense in this league. So those are all risk factors. Like, I mean, you get the rushing floor with him most likely, and there's a potential he could be really good, but he's just a guy that too much risk for my blood.
See, I feel like Dart is going to be the kind of fantasy player that will give you 2 or 3 points below what he's projected, or he'll have a breakout game and like 10, 15 plus than what he was done. So I see why you guys have the risk. I think with me, the reason that I picked Burrow is that there were some games that I felt like he could have been that quarterback that just makes things happen, but then like I didn't really see it, especially when I had him. And yeah, they had injuries, they had all of this stuff, but I think Burrow is more of a team guy that he needs pieces. And if one of those pieces are not there, I don't think he'll perform in a fantasy aspect as much as we want him to. One also, I think I want to hear your thoughts. We didn't say his name, but what are we thinking for Drake May?
I mean, he got an upgrade, right? He picked up a brand new wide receiver, and he already had a pretty amazing season last season. He was second in the MVP conversation, right? The things going against him, and I was gonna bring him up too, maybe as a risky, was the schedule is much harder. So like it'll really be a test of him and the McDaniels system to see if he can still perform. Um, People are really high on him, man. I maybe it's because he was taken after Caleb, and there's a lot of those comparison. I never give him his flowers, but people are really high on him, and they think he's just gonna like be just as great, if not greater than last year.
I mean, he was given a historically easy schedule last year, and he performed historically well. Like, he was second in MVP, arguably could have won it. But you just don't know what is going to happen. Is he going to come back to earth with the significantly more difficult schedule this year? He's playing a lot of good teams. He does have that certified number one. It'll be interesting to see. He's got that rushing floor as well. He's a good runner. So
I have a question that I'm going to say for next week, but just to give you guys a preview, is the wide receiver one now an overrated position? Not in fantasy, just in the league itself. So just keep your thoughts for that for next week. Let's move on to the next group. We're going to go with the running backs. We have Gibbs, John, CMC, Cook, JT, Henry, Walker. I always mess up this name. Boopin hit me.
Chan.
Thank you. Hampton, Barkley, Chase, and Brown.
Chase Brown.
Why would we do this? And we spelled Braun wrong. Good job, boys.
Braun W.
Yeah. Miller, who is your favorite of the group?
Boopin, who is your favorite of the group?
Jesus.
I have a couple of really I think I told somebody this the other day. I think Gibbs might break fantasy scoring this season. But right there in the middle, I think Cook's gonna have a really solid year. You don't have to I don't know. He's not going super high, so I can get him like late first, maybe like 10 pick in 8, 9, 10 pick. You can get him there. He's solid. He's like everyone keeps saying his touchdown is gonna come down, but he's like scored a bunch of touchdown every year. I think the Bills' offense should be more efficient than they were. So I think all that combined, maybe trying to keep Allen healthy. That's why they run the ball so much. I think Cook in the middle is just like I don't know, such a beautiful.
Cook is your favorite
pick. I think so.
Okay, Miller.
I'm actually pretty high on Chase Brown for where you're getting him in the draft. Obviously, you talked about your concerns with Burrow. It's obviously there, especially with his injury history. If something does happen to Burrow, Chase Brown's stock drastically drops. So that's always a possibility. But if this offense can hum like it's meant to do, he is the solidified 3-down back of Cincinnati. Because I don't know if Samori P. Ryan's still there, but his role is definitely reduced. But he will get the work and he will get the points. So as a mid-second round pick, Chase Brown is not a bad pick.
Yeah, he won people some leagues last year, right?
Who was that? Is that me?
I don't know.
It was.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was.
Some guy.
I think I have an official favorite running back, and it's Derrick Henry. There's just something about Henry that, like, he should not have put up the numbers that he put up, but God, he runs angry, and I just love it. There's just something about him, and I think he will be the one running back that almost don't look at it from a skill level. I'm talking from a fantasy perspective for my end. I think he'll be like an Adrian Peterson where I will always want him on my team type player. It doesn't matter if his production goes down. It doesn't matter anything. I just want him on my team because I feel he can be a good flex, a good RB2 or whatever. So,
well, you're drafting him for an RB1, so I hope he's that.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like years moving forward, like you still will have a position. But I am a big Henry fan, and I'm gonna switch us into my riskiest player. I hate to do this. I think it's CMC. There's something about how they use him and how any given touch he makes, or if he's overused. I think that's a good thing for fantasy perspective, but I think you might see a different situation, especially with how that team is kind of built. So
in the substation, you
In the
can't talk about
substation,
CMC and not talk
Come
about the substation.
on, you guys are something else.
But yeah, I would say
no.
CMC.
It's a great pick. It's such a polarizing pick, CMC. People either think he's gonna again be amazing like he was last year, but historically, when a running back has had like 500 touches like CMC did last year, they were not RB1 the following year. They like actually had a pretty down year. So if he does it again, it'll be historical. But I think there's a lot of factors. The substation is held.
Exactly.
Historical.
You literally criticize him for bringing it up, and you now use it as your point.
I know. I appreciate that.
I criticize you because I want to bring it up. No, I'm kidding.
Jesus.
But jokes aside, like a lot of things, and he's like, if anyone can break this like historical mold, it's him. But I think it'll be tough to do. People are very high on him, and I don't think.
I mean, I've only had him on my team once, and I think I won a championship. But like, if he's on the field, if he plays, he's by far the best running back in sports or in the NFL. There's no comparison. What he does, catching the ball, running the ball, like he's RB1 every year if he actually plays a full season. It's insane. Who knows what happens?
Who's your riskiest, Miller?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the guy that Chris loves to say his name. Do you want to say it for me?
I always mess it up.
Devon Achane.
Achane. I always think Achane. I don't know why.
Yeah. The reason he's my riskiest is he has all the talent in the world, but being in that Miami Dolphins offense and expecting high point totals, high production, it'll be interesting. Obviously, they have Malik Willis as their quarterback. There's some concerns there. Will he dump it off as much as Tua did last year, or will he use his legs more? These are concerns when you have that. And when you're drafting him as such a high pick, he isn't the biggest guy. He's not Derrick Henry. He's not going to run people over. So he's shifty. He needs to get ball in space and make some moves. And will he have that this year under this new offense? And it's a big investment with those concerns, in my opinion.
And we are going to go right into the wide receivers. And again, I don't know why we have it written this way, but we have first names and then we have last names. So God forbid we don't have some kind of clarity in this. But for wide receivers, we have Jamar, Puka, JSN, Amon-Ra, CD, Nico, George, AJ Brown, JJ. Who could that be? And go ahead and say this one because I always mess this up too.
Malik?
See, I've heard that, but when I see it, I think Malik, and I don't know why. That's my brain.
Because you're not cultured.
That's my brain. I'm going to start us off.
Your brain's not cultured.
Yeah, whatever. JSN all day. Give me JSN. I think this is the easiest one here.
Lots of sexy names there.
Really? Why is it so easy?
From a fantasy perspective, I just feel like how can I word it? From a fantasy perspective, I just see him getting more opportunities, especially in PPR leagues.
Boopin, was his efficiency rating last year historic?
Yeah, it was like pretty outlier how amazing that offense was.
Like the efficiency that he had, I think that like combines like the throws to him, the accuracy on those throws, the deep throws, everything about it was like historic last year for him. Obviously, he was wide receiver number one. He is a wide receiver number one. I'm not taking anything away from it. I don't think it's a slam dunk. I mean, whenever Sam Darnold's your quarterback, yes, he did win a Super Bowl, but I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong and still questioning that.
On that name,
but
come on.
And you also have to realize that Rashid Shaheen is on that team, wide receiver too. He got thrown into that offense late last year, so it'll be interesting to see if he can.
There was only one game in which he did not have double-digit points.
I mean, he was incredible last season. Don't get me wrong, but like a hard thing about fantasy.
He doesn't fucking listen to me.
one hard thing about fantasy is like you can't copy paste. You hate CMC had was healthy, had 500 touches. So why is he your riskiest pick? If you're following the same logic, right? You cannot copy paste.
No. See, no. See, you're talking about there's no ifs right now with JSN compared to the ifs that CMC has.
What?
How come?
Injuries.
He's been healthy for the last 3 seasons.
He's always on the injury report, and then he always seems to play. And everyone always says that he was injury prone. The substation, guys, come on, the substation.
That's not accurate. Talking about there's no ifs with JSN. I just talked about how historic his efficiency rating is
with the same quarterback.
It doesn't mean that everything stays the same.
So then why would it stay the same for CMC?
He's done it consistently. JSN hasn't. JSN has one outlier season. If you look at his stats, I mean, he's only been in the league for 4 years, but I'm not taking anything away. JSN's still a really good wide receiver. I'm just saying.
Is he a riskiest pick, Miller?
No, he's not. But I should make him my argument now just to move the conversation along. But JSN's good. I'm not taking anything away from him, but there are some concerns there. Will the efficiency of him and Darnell in the passing game be as good this year as it was last year? And if it is, you might be.
New OC, Chris, new running back, wide receiver 2 change. Their wide receiver 2 went somewhere else, I think. So, it's not, you can't copy paste 1 year into the other. He had outlier of the season. If he does it again, I will shut up and,
I mean, he'll be good. No doubt he'll be good.
Yeah. But I think there'll be more competition to be wide receiver 1. My riskiest pick, let's start there. I have to say this, right? Puka. How high is going, how low I am on him. I think he's the riskiest pick. I don't know who my favorite is. I like a bunch of them.
I was gonna say, why are you starting with riskiest? Because I could have sworn we're on favorites right now.
I know, but I don't know if I have JSN is great. Amon-Ra, I like all the names there. Maybe AJ Brown, getting the discount, picking him later. Malik, I chose not to keep in a keeper league, so I don't know. I can't say he's my favorite. So AJ Brown, I think you're getting a discount a little bit. He's going later because he's moving teams, but people again are super high on him. They think he should be solid, so you're getting a discount and getting probably wide receiver 1 numbers right there. That's probably my favorite.
I like that one. I'm Amon-Ra St. Brown will be my favorite. I'm just gonna make him my favorite. I have a laundry list of risky that we can get into, but Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think he is 3 or 4. I think 4 years consecutive of wide receiver 3. He just gets it done all the time.
No, nothing to do with that. He's on your team now.
No, nothing. I've never had him before. Thank you very much. But the riskiness, I'll start just because I have a few. I could sit on this list and just stare at it, and you can look at George Pickens being 7 overall wide receiver, and he might not even be wide receiver 1 on his team. Yes, Dak, mentioned earlier by Boopin, could be dynamic offense, but will it be good enough to have 2 wide receivers in the top 10? Rarely happens. Maybe. Justin Jefferson, he was almost going to be my favorite tonight, but the concerns at the quarterback position, can Kyler Murray really bounce back? I don't know.
They're still developing chemistry, guys. They're still developing chemistry.
My last one that I have is Malik Neighbors. Wide receivers that come off of ACL tears, they don't have great years, but he is a superstar. He will be a superstar. Boopin should have kept him. Dumbass. But I could see Malik having a rough go, especially early.
I was gonna go with Pickens. I don't know. There's the way that even that kind of came about, but Miller basically took everything.
That man is hungry. He wants to get paid next year. He's gonna fucking.
He is, but he's also a hothead. So if things don't go well, he's gonna run his mouth.
If the team starts losing, he doesn't get really touches quickly, and he wants to get paid. That's already bad news for fantasy owners.
Because we know that CD is going to be Dak's number 1 target. So can Pickens, I mean, he definitely showed last year that he could fit the mold for that offense, but
he's a little high. I didn't think he was this high.
yeah, I think he's really gone up recently, to be honest.
And the last category, we're going to talk about tight ends. We got Bowers, McBride, Loveland, Warren, Kraft, Fannin, Laporta, Kittle, Pitts, and Kincaid. I hate to do this, but my favorite right now is Loveland.
Ooh, homer alert!
A little bit of a homer alert, but I do feel like not that he has anything to. The thing that did it for me was the touchdown from last year, where it was in the last seconds of the fourth quarter where he kind of got hit, but he still stayed up and ran it in. I think it was against Cincinnati. I always see that. I always see that play, and I'm like, that's not like other tight ends might have just gone down or all of that. I don't have any fantasy stats to back this. I'm just looking at that particular play and kind of seeing how he develops with Williams. But right now, my homer favorite is going to be Loveland.
He's a dog.
He's got that Costco in him. That's a hot dog joke, Miller.
Okay, that was a good one. I did.
All right. Boopin, who's your favorite?
Again, not because he's on my team, but I think Bowers. Because okay,
let's take the number one tight end.
No, but like, tell me the wide receiver 2 on that team, not the wide receiver 1. Tell me wide receiver like this. They don't have anybody.
I could basically ask you to name the wide receiver 2 on like 20 teams, and you wouldn't be able to.
No, like I'm saying, who's catching passes? Like, who will be the wide receiver 1? That'll be the wide receiver 2 on that team.
It's Trey Tucker.
Yeah. Okay. But like, that's what I'm saying. Like, that team would be like Genty and Bowers. So
who's throwing him the ball, Boopin?
Mendoza look good. I'm not gonna lie. I don't care either way. A tight end, like a rookie quarterback, tight end is the best friend, right? That little blanket. Cousins throwing the ball, I can't be mad about that. Like either way, I think like there's not much options in that offense. They, on paper, seem to be better than they were last year. He already had a decent season last year, so I think he may break fantasy too.
Miller, favorite.
I'm going to go with a guy that's also picked, drafted this year. I really liked this pick until about 2 weeks ago when they signed Keenan Allen. But I really feel like Tyler Warren for the Colts can really be a really good tight end, because with the injuries to Alec Pierce right now, I really feel like Tyler Warren is going to be that guy that's going to catch a lot of balls in the middle of the field. With Keenan there, it's a little concerning, but I still think the youth and the connection that they had last year wins out. So I really think Tyler Warren is a really good pick this year.
Yeah, I mean, like, best case scenario, Keenan Allen is Pittman, right? Like, they cancel each other out. Warren still had a magical season last season, so I think the risk there is you're banking on Daniel Jones to stay healthy. Like, that's when he really cooked. So
yeah, that's factual. Otherwise, we might see Phillip Rivers again.
Yeah, so that's the annoying part. But other than that, solid pick.
And Boopin, why don't you go ahead and take us into the riskiest?
Yeah, again, sorry, taking the easy way out. Like, take your pick. Kraft, Kittle, coming off the injury, like not just injury, guys, like devastating injuries, and they're like in line to play week 1. At least Kraft now they're like, oh, he may miss some time, but Kittle's gonna play week 1 in Australia.
I didn't hear that.
They said he will be on a pitch count.
Pitch count, yeah.
Yeah,
But Kraft he was hurt earlier in the season. I think he was hurt by like week 9 or 10. Kittle was like, wasn't Kittle like almost in like the end of the season type of deal?
Yeah,
maybe even the playoffs.
Pretty late.
It was really late.
But like both of them, like Kittle's supposedly flying to Australia to play, which just I don't even understand half these injury reports. But super sketchy, right? Like if you're drafting them, please draft someone with a higher upside for the first few weeks at least. That's all I can say.
I will go next. I've had this. I've had the pleasure and the downfall of having both Pitts and Kincaid in my teams. I think of the two, I'm going to go with Kincaid. The only reason is I believe with some tight ends, you're looking to always hit at least the projected score. But I always feel that with Kincaid, it was always high number, low number, high number, low number. And I don't know. I think if you were to look at his stats, it looks like he is going on the upside. But when you have him on your team and you think he's going to do well, it just doesn't seem to go that way. But Bill's offense is a little bit different this year, so there could be some consistency. At least for me, I would say Kincaid with Pitts kind of being a little bit behind him.
That's fair. I mean, he's dealt with injuries his entire career, and he was supposed to be that number one catch guy for Josh Allen, and he never really turned into it. And since then, it's kind of been touchdown or bust type of performances out of Kincaid. For me, the riskiest Boopin already took two of mine that I was going to say with the injuries, but we'll go with the third that seems to be getting a lot of love. And I get it. I understand it based on last year's performances and where he ended up finishing. But Harold Fannin Jr., I have a tough time spending that type of draft capital on a Browns tight end. When you're getting the ball thrown to you by Deshaun and Shadur, I'm just concerned. On top of that, you have two young wide receivers that they're going to try to get the ball to as well. It might not be the one-man show like it was at the end of the season, so I could see some risk with that guy.
Chris, good pick on Pitts. I think that offense overall has so many question marks, but Kincaid, I think, has been getting some love. Supposedly, he's 1 year more removed from the big injury he had. Last year, he had nagging injuries that kept him out. Some people are pretty high on Kincaid, like for how late he's going, that he may not be that, like you're saying, boomer bust tight end. He actually might have like a decent floor, is what people are expecting. So, but Pitts, I agree. Like, that Atlanta offense, God knows what they're gonna do that there.
All right, and that's our favorites / riskiest players in the draft. We touched on it a little bit. I do want to ask the question. This is mostly if you don't want to give it, that's fine. But I'm intrigued to hear your thoughts because I don't think we really talked about it. Did the Browns make the right call of naming Watson the starter?
I think they were pushed into it. Like they paid this man God knows how many millions, 200 million some dollars.
Was it more?
It was fully guaranteed, is what I remember. I think it was 240. Was it not? I think I remember a number, but
could be right.
But like, they have got nothing out of it, right? Like, and to be fair, Watson was coming out a decent year in Houston, so maybe injuries did derail him. Off the field issues didn't help.
He was like a really good quarterback in Houston.
Yeah, so like
Watson signed a 5-year fully guaranteed $230 million.
30. Oh, sorry, I gave him a little 10 million extra.
I thought it was more.
Yeah. But I think at that point, 230 fully guaranteed was like unheard of. But
yeah,
no, I think they were pushed into it. I don't think it's a good situation for them, and they are handling it as poorly as they could have. But yeah, I think they see where he is. Like, he'll get killed probably first couple of games, and Browns will brown and bring Shadur back a couple weeks out. I think that's what's gonna happen. But hey, for fantasy's sake, I know he's an awful human being, but for fantasy's sake, I hope he's decent. They have like lots of fantasy options, people being drafted. So like, for their sake, I hope he's decent.
Miller, what do you think about that call?
I'm kind of on the same boat. I think, I don't know, you can look at two situations that are very similar with Minnesota and also the Browns, right? Both of them have a young quarterback and a veteran guy. And it's just like they both took a different route. Whereas the Browns went with the veteran that they're paying a shit ton of money. Now, maybe you turn around and because they have a really tough first 2 weeks where they're away, and then you see how Deshaun performs, and if he loses, then you bring in Shador at home. That's a possibility week 3. But I think you kind of, I agree with Boopin is the fact like you got to kind of give Deshaun a shot because it's probably going to be your last one. And I would have probably done the same thing in Minnesota with JJ McCarthy is you probably got to give the kid a shot because if he doesn't do anything, you're done. Whereas they didn't, and now it's Kyler's team. So it's like you might as well just drop JJ. There's no point to have him on your team.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are looking at it from a standpoint of was it really a competition? Was it really between Watson and Sanders, and should have Sanders gotten the call? I genuinely think this move says they don't trust either of them, and they're going to go to the draft next year. I honestly think they are just going to play whoever the fans want to clamor for. If we start hearing Sanders' name being chanted in the stadium, I mean, who knows what's going to happen at that point? But
you can't really say that. I mean, like the Browns fans just booed Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, and Deshaun gave it back too. So that's what I'm saying. Like, if the fans are clamoring for Sanders and then he's awful, the Browns basically have the point of saying, "Hey, listen, those 2 quarterbacks just didn't work out. We're gonna."
But I mean, the fans are clamoring for Sanders.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Well, they're clamoring.
Really say that.
But they're clamoring because of what happened with Watson at the press conference too.
Well, no, not just the press conference.
The press conference was after they got booed. He got booed because he's a piece of shit.
Well, yeah, you're not wrong.
I agree.
Why not? How they say, ¿Por qué no los dos?
Chris, fans are just. I was talking to a gentleman yesterday at a bar. Older gentleman. And I was shocked to hear this opinion from this man. And he was like appalled that he was like, I got granddaughters. How can I tell them that I root for the Browns? You know? And I was appalled. I was not expecting that from him. So looks like the fans overall are hating this decision.
Mm-hmm.
So if fans were in charge, Sanders would start.
I agree
right
with that
away.
Statement. Yeah.
But there are signs outside Brown Stadium in the Paul Brown under the statue. They're like, worst move. The year they went 0-16 was a better experience, is what the fans are saying, supposedly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was just a conversation. We talked a little bit about it. But yeah, good convo. Let's finish the show off with a little preview of the last preseason game. The Bears will play the Titans, scheduled for the 29th. How should we be looking at this game, Miller?
With 2 eyes.
Great call. Boopin, what do you want to add to that?
I don't know if I can add any. No.
I don't think any of the starters are really going to play.
Yeah, like it's basically honest. Like, people on the bubble, like trying to make the team. Like, our defensive depth showed up in game 1. Game 2 didn't look so hot. Like, probably a good time for them, like, the people on the back end to, like, make their move, show up a little bit.
This may be petty, and it's probably most certainly an overreaction. But damn, I would really like to see Ben Johnson call an offense and to score some points in this game.
Not preseason though. Why would he give his playbook up? That's why he's letting anybody call.
He's got a very
everyone has everyone's playbook at this point. Like I don't believe that as much.
At least
the bottom line is he scored 0 the first game. Last game they scored 9. I mean, last game they're playing crappy defense. This week they're going to play crappy defense. So I would like for us to at least get some offense. Again, like you said, it's an overreaction. But
it is Chris's Super Bowl. Mitch might start.
There is some videos circulating that Mitch is like looking good.
Tell me where you find this. Tell me where you find this.
They showed this video.
That's on that Truth Social bullshit. That's not on Twitter.
I can't afford Truth Social. But what it is there's a video floating around of Ward and the the little like net basket thing. He had like 3 or 4 throws and he couldn't hit it. And Mitch just big dicked it. First throw, got it in. I mean, that's a starter in my book. I don't know what you guys are talking about. But, I mean, last time Mitch played the Bears, he looked pretty damn good in the preseason game. So, you know.
Oh, my God. If he has a good game, I probably may not show up next podcast.
I will probably just look at that stat line. I'll be very honest with you guys. Me not necessarily looking too much into the depth charts. I'm not really looking to, unless we see that the starters are going to play a full quarter, I might watch. But I mean, we mentioned it before. I think preseason is losing its, I don't even know what to call it. It's just losing its lifeline of existing as something that we would actually want to be entertained with. So
just like the Pro Bowl?
I mean, yeah, even the Pro Bowl, but like, I don't know. This might be one that I'm completely okay with sitting out and watching highlights for 10 minutes somewhere. But
I mean, like preseason week 4 used to be the same thing, right? This is basically that.
Well, preseason week 4, if you guys remember, the second half of those games were amazing because the people that were on the bubble to get cut, you had them in the sidelines like saying, let me get in, or seeing opportunities. Kick returns were always huge around that time. I just don't see it. I don't know. Maybe that's just the homer or the boomer in me that, do we need this kind of stuff for preseason? I don't think so. I think safety is always going to be number 1 now. So
I mean,
so does the NFL. The NFL really agrees. Safety first.
Players,
no, but like
at least.
the biggest difference this year, I don't know if it was last year, is usually there would be like cuts before. The team would be like, I don't know, 70 or something, and they would bring it to 53, right? This year, I think they're at 90 something. So there'll be
there's only one cut.
There's like 30 players being cut from every team. So there'll be lots of like.
And then there's that week gap for waivers, right? That's usually after the last preseason game. The whether it's money cuts or whatever, and seeing people get signed on waivers or free agency. I know that's always in that gap. So I hate to say it, but maybe we might see some rookies play, or we might see some players get cut right after. I don't know. I think on the backup QB side of things, I think we're looking okay. I'm not necessarily looking at a race per se. I could care less. We have Williams.
It's because we have the best, right?
We have a quarterback.
Elite.
I don't know. Does the Madden curse live on is going to be the next question. But
I mean, even Bajan won't play, right? Right, Miller? Like, there's no reason to play him. He was
hamstring
injured.
Injury.
Yeah, he's injured, but like, even if he wasn't, they probably wouldn't even play him.
Agent would play.
You think?
Why?
This is why he makes his money.
But why are they playing to trade him, or are they? He's not playing for a contract for the Bears.
I mean, Bajan versus Trubisky. Come on,
He's
can you not see the
headline? Possible trade, future.
Can you not see the headlines right now in the newspaper the next day?
He only signed a 2-year
Trubisky
deal.
outplays another Bears quarterback. I see it all the time. What do you mean?
All right. I don't know, but like Tennessee, I don't know if like Robert Saleh is crazy, but they may play some starters, I think.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, they're not as in good a shape as we are.
It's a new coach too.
Yeah.
And Ward hasn't looked very good. That offense hasn't looked very good, so they need to kind of try to work out some kinks.
And to be fair, Saleh's more defensive minded, so I'm pretty sure he's going to let the coordinator kind of mess with that, but I don't know. Well, boys, with that, I think we did a really good job today. We're going to go ahead and end the episode there. Thank you guys so much for listening in. If you like what you heard, make sure you hit that like button, hit subscribe if you can, and hopefully we do something with the algorithm. But with that being said,
someday, hopefully soon, we get to talk about Chicago sports and it'll actually be good. But hey, until then, we have each other. Let's do this. On that deeply uplifting tone, extremely positive note, we're all signing off. Good night.
Bye. Bye-bye.